Okay, hi everyone. It is Kate, the Almost Book Doctor, and welcome to my channel. I am here today with my friend Joe from high school.
What
Go
up?
ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Joe. I've been just getting into this Cosmere stuff. It's been great. I took a long break from reading and I got back into it with Brandon Sanderson, and it's like been incredible.
Yay!
Been great.
I love having another Sander fan on my channel.
Brando Sando.
Brando Sando fan, yes, or Sander Stan, if you want to put it
Oh,
that.
I haven't heard that one. That's great.
Yes. If you can't tell, Joe is here to talk Cosmere with me. He read the Cosmere in a really short period of time after having only read Mistborn a while ago. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
So I do most of my reading. I mean, hopefully my boss isn't listening, but I do most of my reading while I'm at work. I work midnights and I have a lot of downtime being a mechanic. So yeah, I just read really fast. And sometimes it's like, it's not even like a brag, because sometimes I should slow down because like sometimes I don't absorb everything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing, I mean, the great thing about Sanderson is like it is so exciting, and like you do just like want to know what happens next. Like sometimes I find myself like skipping sentences because like, and I gotta slow down and like and reread it.
I've done that a couple of times, especially when like the new books came out. I had to make sure that I was pausing during Rhythm of War because I was like, I just want to know what happens. Have you noticed like they call it the Sander Lanch at like the end of the book? There like comes a point where everything just starts to absolutely go as fast as possible.
No, absolutely. And I gotta say, like, so I'm just now rereading the Stormlight, so I'm just going through it for the second time now, and it's so much easier to follow, you know, because like especially in Way of Kings, there's so much world building and so many things that you have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not all explained right away, which I mean is normal and makes sense. But like even, you know, for the first couple hundred pages, you're like, what's the spren? Like I have no idea what this is, you know, and obviously like after going through everything, you're like, okay, this just makes a little bit more sense now that like we have all that context.
Oh yeah. I have this I have yet to do a reread of the Stormlight Archive because I'm waiting for January so that I can
Sure.
start then read it slowly and be prepared for Stormlight 5 that we just found out was going to be delayed, which makes me
Oh
sad.
no.
Yeah, he said it's gonna be delayed. I don't think it's gonna be like a whole year. We don't really know.
Is there a release date at this point?
I don't think he has like a solid one because it was supposed to be in November. So
Oh,
I
that's so
think
sad.
it's going to be in January, which is
Okay.
like kind of fine by me because then it's like a birthday present to me. Just like the first of his like extra books are going to be
He
probably.
he does seem to write extremely fast.
Yeah, one of the things that I sound like such a crazy person because I know all of the like news is that he just said that he's going to be adding another writer to the Cosmere.
Ooh,
Right.
I don't know how I feel about that, but okay.
I know that's exactly what I said. I was like, He wants it to feel sort of like Star Wars, and I'm assuming that
Oh,
that also means multiple writers writing in the same universe.
I
It's
mean,
like,
there's definitely enough content to facilitate that.
mm-hmm.
So
I think what he said was like the stories that he doesn't feel like he could write the best way.
yeah,
He
I can see that.
this other guy write it. So I don't know if like maybe there's more romance he wants, and he's not really the best at writing romance or whatever,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
as evidenced in most of the books.
Yeah, there's not much of that nature going on really. And I mean, even like in Mistborn with you know, with Ellen and Vin, like it was like good, but like you know, I mean, I'm here for the action as well, but I mean, I don't mind a little bit of romance.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Um, he's I feel like Shallan and Adolin is a little bit better than
Yeah, I mean, well, especially I'm trying to think at the end of the book, Shallan's still dealing with, you know, her alter ego. That's like a huge problem. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm into it. And you pronounce Ada. Okay, so this is so weird when you talk about fantasy books. So it's like I always pronounced it Adeline in my head, but I could see it either way.
Interesting. I never thought about saying it a different way, but yeah, Adolin is like a golden retriever and I love him so much.
Absolutely. No, big golden retriever energy. Absolutely.
So, oh, I have to ask you, do you have a favorite like installment of the Cosmere? We'll put it that way.
You know, the original three Mistborn definitely hold a special place in my heart, only because, like I said, I read a ton when I was a kid and teenager, just constant books, staying up till 5 a.m. every night reading. And then, unfortunately, I grew up and got old and boring and had to work a ton, and I just kind of fell out of the game. And I guess a lot of people in my personal life don't read a whole lot. Like my brother is really the only one, and he's more of a sci-fi guy.
Oh,
So like I got out of it, and then like so Mistborn is like the first thing I read that wasn't like a technical document in like 8 years.
oh my gosh.
And like it was so explosive to me. Like it was just such a breath of fresh air. And obviously the whole magic system and world building was something that I had never experienced on this scale. Because I read a lot of D&D novels like R.A. Salvatore.
Like Forgotten Realms stuff.
Oh yeah, no, like I'm a huge Forgotten Realms fan. But granted, and not even talking junk about it, but it's more, they're just adventure novels. There's not as much substance, I should say. But it's just constant go, and the magic and the fighting, and that, I mean, that's great. I'm here for it. But like the magic system, I mean, obviously it's like the craziest thing, and all this there's just so many elements going on. Like, how does this guy think of it? Like, it's crazy.
I have no idea how his brain functions. I think he's one of the most creative people that I have read because of his world building. Obviously, there's like some very like out there worlds in fantasy, but
Yeah.
what I like so much about Mistborn is the magic system, the hard magic system. Is there anything about it that particularly like draws you in? Like, what do you like about the magic system?
I mean, just how organized it is, and especially reading now, coming into different Cosmere books with Stormlight, you start to see the similarities, as far as with the different gemstones, more like in Stormlight versus the metals in Mistborn. And like, side note before I forget, like I just like the crossover stuff is like just, it's endless. Like what happens, like, so at the end of Rhythm of War, they were using the Racium daggers from the god metal from Odium. It's like, what if Vin consumed that? Like, what would happen? Like what would happen? Like, and it's just crazy to think about. Like, and hopefully something like that does happen in the future.
So the Lost Metal coming out in November. I just saw like a little clip on like YouTube. You know how they have those shorts?
Yeah.
Sanderson talking about it. And in that clip, he said that it has the most crossover of anything that he has written so far.
Okay.
And so that's really exciting. But you haven't read The Secret History yet, have you?
So I did. That was in Ars Arcanum, right? In the yes. Big book. And I need to reread that because like a lot happened in a very short amount of pages. And like I guess I probably just need to like digest it once more, especially with all the Kelsier stuff.
Oh, yes. So you spotted Kelsier in Stormlight then?
I enough. Like, I'm not the most observant when it comes to that stuff, I'll be honest. Like, I miss some of those small details. But yeah, but that was cool.
I think everybody in the Cosmere fandom took like a collective when they figured it out.
And I mean, and Hoyd's he's really sweet, just seeing him in even in obviously in Stormlight, he plays a much larger role than he has in the past. But no, it's just sweet just to think of these like interstellar travelers. I mean, to call it a universe, I mean, it's metaphorical and it's now literal.
Yeah.
Who does that? That's so sweet. Like, it's so cool.
I know. You just got to fangirl sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So you love Mistborn. Do you have a favorite character in the Cosmere?
I feel like this is kind of the easy answer, but just something about Kaladin, like he's just my boy. Like I'll just be like reading, and then like my coworkers will look over, and I'm just like fist bumping, like, yeah, Kaladin, let's like get it.
He's my favorite too. He is the sad boy. You just want to give him a hug.
No,
And
he's just the emo kid, sitting at the back of the My Chemical Romance concert, and like, yeah, you just want to see him do good. It's been so hard. He's had such a crappy life, and like, just want to get him a W. Want to see him win.
I know. I think that now that you put it that way, the emo kid at the My Chemical Romance concert, that makes so much sense as to why I love him so much. I think
No,
all his former emo kids have a soft spot for
and
Kaladin.
and I mean, he's just Honor picked. I mean, Honor, like, it's just so cool.
Honor may be dead, but I'll see what I can do.
There you go.
Badass. I don't know. That's still probably one of my favorite scenes from the entire series.
Just I don't know, just still just telling him, speak the words, Khaled, and you were like, do it, just do it, like, and then I mean, like, yeah,
What I love so much that what Sanderson does is he puts all this emotion in it, and there's such an impact. And so when he does these really cool, badass things with his characters, they really mean something because you have that emotional background to it.
no, absolutely. And I mean, even with like the world building and the magic systems, like as much as I do love the novelty of it, and just how cool, and all the charts and the different surges, I mean, I'm here for the characters. I'm here for character growth. I'm here for people starting off in a bad place, and through hard work and determination and doing the right thing, like, get better, and things work out. I mean, that's what life's all about, I guess.
That's why I love Moash's story, and I
Yeah,
can't
for
wait to
sure.
see where that goes. I don't really know if I even want a redemption arc necessarily from him, but I want to watch him.
I don't. Yeah, no. Honestly, I'd like to see him fall.
Yeah,
I mean, well, he already has fallen, but
but even farther, and
yeah,
we'll see what happens with. I don't even know. So the fifth book is the last in this arc, and then there's going to be like a huge gap between 5 and 6. And so this is really like book 5 is going to be like a big climax.
sure.
And so I'm nervous to see who like survives. And I feel like Moash is going to be one of those characters who I think may not survive.
Right. I mean, do you think, as far as the next 5 books, is it going to be the same as Mistborn, where it's going to be like a large amount of physical time that passes, and so most of the characters that we know like won't, or
I'm,
is it still going to pick up chronologically?
I don't know if something in my head is saying that he said there's only going to be 50 years between
I
Era
mean,
One or
I don't want to lose all these sweet characters we got to know.
I know. I I have said that if Kaladin dies, I will not read it anymore. I'm gonna throw it down.
No.
Done. Done. I won't do it. I don't think I actually could do that, but I feel like the entire fan base,
No, yeah, no, that would upset quite a few people.
yes.
I mean, even if it was like a noble sacrifice worth a lot of stuff, like, don't go. Like,
I know.
you know what I'm saying?
Don't go into the light, Kaladin.
Don't do it. And then even Dalinar's a whole, like, he's such a sweet character, as noble and proud, and following the codes. The fact that he had forgot his wife's memory, and then that story of him reliving, or finally remembering what he did in that town and how that all went down, like, that was devastating for me. I was like, Dale, like, Daddy Dale, like, what's going on? Like I was so sad for him.
Yeah, the whole part with Evie just that's another point where I'm like,
That was
how does
rough.
your brain work, Sanderson? Like,
That
how do you
was
come
rough.
up with this? It just I think I might have cried when he
Yeah,
finally realized it. I These books make me tear up a lot.
for sure.
But that's another moment where it's just like the gut punch, that when Kaladin swears the fourth ideal, um, when Raboniel, when she kills her daughter and then gives up her life for
Ooh,
Navani,
that
which
would that would coming from someone who has like a family history of dementia and Alzheimer's, like tough. I was like, dang, like dang. Yeah, I might have cried one perfect tear.
Ah, the King's Drop.
Exactly.
This world's so expansive. You can just like bring it. It feels like it's alive sometimes for me, and you can just bring it out, and you can. I like being able to dissect the themes that he brings across. That's one of my favorite things about reading in general.
Yeah.
Is there any part of the Cosmere that really got you, like one specific moment? Was it the Raboniel scene, or was it?
There's that. I mean, speaking of themes, what really got me, especially I've noticed now that I'm rereading Stormlight, is the theme of responsibility for your own actions. Regardless of outside influence. Really, with Dalinar, when he finds out, or when he regains his memory of the battle where, he killed his wife on accident, or well, accident. I don't know. But as far as being affected by the thrill, like he still takes personal responsibility for it. And same with Seth and his oath stone. I mean, he traveled the country, or the Roshar, and just assassinated all the kings, and like not even, and it was, they weren't even like singular assassinations. He just went into a crowded feast and like laid waste. And then to come to find out that oath stone was no magical properties. It was just a token of his religion, or his culture, more culture, and that it really had no power. And seeing him struggle with that, it's powerful.
I think now that you mentioned the culture part, Seth's culture, his world is supposed to be like us.
That's kind of what I took away from it. They're like the more like regular humans.
Yes, and I think that has a lot to say about, the comparison to our culture, and how we act, and how we might do things because someone tells us that that's what we're supposed to do, or because our religion tells us that we're supposed to do them, just as one example. But do we think about whether or not it's right or wrong? And do we take responsibility for the actions that we do in the name of our country, or in the name of our God? We need to be doing that, and there's a lot of us who do, but on a whole, there's a lot of people who justify their actions saying, I was doing it because, I was told to, or because religion told me to. Which is something I not think of.
I'm really excited to learn more about the Shin, because even when they're introduced, because we just still don't know a whole ton, a lot about them. But just as far as like the way that their environment reacts is, I think mostly of the grass. Because everywhere else on Roshar, it reacts to the high storm and pulls back. And then over there, they even describe soil, just dirt, being unique to the Shin homelands. And so I'm actually really curious if they do. I don't, as far as, is Earth a part of the Cosmere? I would highly doubt it. But there's tons of similarities to be drawn between the Shin and, I think, other humans here in the modern age.
Oh yeah, and I really am excited to see the big duo of Kaladin and Seth, well, trio if you count Nightblood, going to the Shin, or going to Shinovar. When you get the story, the Dog and the Dragon, which just was one of those moments that hit me real hard in the book. I actually have one of the quotes on my whiteboard up here, but anyway, I won't say it because it'll make me teary. But I remember one little thing where Kaladin's like, "What's a dog?" And I can't wait to see him go to Shinovar, and like, was he gonna see like a chicken and be like, "What is this?"
I think it's really cool, that the chickens only come from Shinovar, and they're like a rare delicacy that are exported throughout the country.
Yeah, I think that's funny. But
and it's something obviously Adolin has to have every time before a duel for good luck.
Of course he does. he is the pompous boy, but we love him anyway. I really like, so speaking of Adolin, I like the way the character arc that he is given, and how you see him grow from being just this like superficial person, and as you get to know him and as things happen with Kaladin and Shallan, you see him open up and become this deeper person, especially in the beginning of Rhythm of War, when he's like, come on buddy, we're not going to sulk anymore. Yeah,
Right.
you got dumped, but we're going to go to the bar and it's going to be fun.
No, his character growth was really cool because like especially at the like for the first book or two, I like totally viewed him as the high school jock, spoiled rich kid, just Chad mode.
Oh yeah.
And
Chad.
but yeah, no, it's cool just to see him grow, and especially with Shallan. Yeah, I'm really curious where their arc goes as well.
I think it's going to be sweet. I was surprised that they got married so quickly.
Same.
And I was like, what do you mean? There's not going to be like this drawn out love triangle between the two of them and Kaladin? Like, what's going on? Like, this is what I was expecting. It's a fantasy book.
Right.
But no, he subverted that trope. And now we have this marriage that I feel like we haven't gotten too much insight into, but the stuff that we have seen, I really enjoyed about how Adolin cares for her, and even with her mental illness, which is what it's supposed to represent, you know, he is still supportive, and you see that interaction between them. And I think that's for someone like myself who has, you know, a mental illness, then it's important to see something like that and to see our characters being supported in that way, and like, I'm going to take care of you and it's okay.
For sure, for sure. No, yeah, Shallan's story is getting really good, and it's, I mean, once you dive deeper into it, I mean, sometimes it's tough to think about. I mean, not wanting to be who you are. I mean, I think we all struggle with that from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, wanting to be someone else or be better or different than what you are. And it's a noble struggle, and I think we should always strive for change and to better ourselves. But you can't lose yourself.
I like that you put it that way, because I feel like so many people, when they talk about Shallan, focus more on the fact that she's supposed to be this representation of DID, so dissociative identity disorder, and they don't think about the other implications of that, like how you brought it up. And I just appreciate that you talk about it that way.
Hey, I'm a champion of childhood trauma. we're all dealing with it in our own ways, you know.
Yes, indeed. And I feel like Shallan has, you know, she's the queen of childhood trauma.
She's got some trauma.
She's got, so the way that they revealed what happened to her over time, light weavers. I have taken the test multiple times, and I am a light weaver.
Wait, there's a test. There's a test.
Yes, there's a test.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I will send it to you.
Please.
We're done, because okay, but before you take the test, what order do you think that you would be in?
I don't know if this is almost too presumptuous, but like I love the Windrunners. I mean, I love the idea of just honor. I mean, I don't know if it's a dude thing or what. I mean, I'm just a regular blue collar working guy. I'm all about just working extra hard to get better and to really, and I've always been really introspective as far as, well, let's just call it overthinking.
Yeah, yes.
But no, I mean, Kaladin really resonates with me as far as how he deals with his problems. And really, I like how Kaladin goes back and forth. He's a roller coaster of being on top of his game. And then there's that one little thing that reminds him of his brother. Like, it's just the spiral, and no, like tears, like probably like the story of Tien, falling in the battle. No, that was for sure. Like, I had to close the book up, and I'm gonna go for a little walk and just cry it out,
Yes.
Damn.
That's, yeah, how another moment where you're like, how do you think of this? It's just so, that's one of the like punch in the gut things too, but he draws it out over the books. And then you have like,
well, and that's just the great literary device of foreshadowing. I think he does such a great job of foreshadowing, in the sense that a lot of times you might not see it, but then after the fact, it's incredibly obvious. And I think that's the perfect use of foreshadowing.
He is the king of breadcrumbing.
Oh yeah.
The king of it. And there's, I can't wait for my reread like you are doing right now, because I feel like I'm gonna finally tab my books because I didn't know how to tab books when I read them the first time.
Mm.
And so I'm just gonna be like this thing, this thing, this thing, this is gonna come up again. Like my
Well,
books.
you don't have to focus so much on trying to learn everything. You know, like I said, and especially in the first book, he leaves a lot to guesswork on purpose, you know, and because you don't want to over explain as an author, you can't just sit there and list everything over and over again. You got to have it through natural character interaction. And I think he does a good job of that. I do got to say, I was a little bit thrown off my first read through because halfway through, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Spren are. I don't know what any of this is. Like, when is it going to be explained? And it got explained in a reasonable way. So
Yeah, there is a lot. I think that turns a lot of people off reading The Way of Kings because there's like 4 separate prologues and it can get really bogged down. I
well,
know
go ahead.
this, no, just especially the very first one when you're like, okay, there's like a circle of swords and like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, you don't learn about the recreant for a long time.
Yeah, the word that I can't say, Arab, I can't say that.
I just pronounce it Ariatum. I don't know if that's correct or not.
It's probably better than what I have in my head. But we had been talking about religion in the books, and I really liked what you were saying about I was dumb, guys, and I forgot to hit record when we started talking for a little while.
Happens.
So some of the good stuff Joe and I were talking about is gone from this world. But he did bring up a point about Sanderson being in the LDS church, and oh, there's a cat in the background.
Yeah, it's Scotch.
Oh,
He's
Buttercat,
not alone. Oh yeah, absolutely.
of course. Um, he's a chunker. Oh my gosh.
All my cats are gigantic.
But he's talking about how um he feels like Sanderson being in the Mormon church, like it actually he shows I can't what were you saying?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's just refreshing. I grew up in the church. I went to church all until I was 16, 17. I spent a lot of time there. We were Protestant. So I mean, it's somewhat similar to you know the Latter-day Saints. Obviously, there's quite a bit of difference, but so a lot of it's familiar to me. You know, as far as with the ardents and the priests, and even people like you were saying, their different reaction to the religion. That some people follow it blindly, some people pick and choose. You know, mostly like the soldiers, how they pick and choose, but some of them are superstitious. I think he does a really good job of explaining religion and how it's important to some people and others kind of it's just the thing.
Yeah, I really like that. And especially with like Yasna's character and her viewpoints on religion. Another thing that I was going to bring up before that I didn't say is that I feel like his personal religious beliefs, while you said that he does a good job of showing some of the Christian beliefs, but not being overpowered with them, he also is very inclusive. And I love that because I don't know if you noticed, I only noticed after someone pointed it out to me and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I missed this. But one of the King in the Reshi Isles, he mentions it very quickly that when they become radiant, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, my dogs are barking. When he becomes a radiant, or maybe it's a queen, either way, they become their true self and he becomes a queen.
Yeah, I guess I don't remember that in particular.
Stop. Getting all my dogs. But basically it was trans representation. And I thought that that was really cool that he did that, because I know some of the beliefs in the Mormon church, like they have very strict, hold on one moment.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were barking at.
They're dogs just doing their job.
I know. But anyway, my dog's barking totally threw me off. That's fine.
Well, and even at what surprises me the most, so unfortunately, like my dad, he's a great guy, but back when we were doing the whole church thing when I was younger, he was one of the parents who said no Harry Potter in the house.
Oh no.
And I guess the only reason I say that is it's surprising, and I guess I don't want to say refreshing. Honestly, it's really just surprising that a guy, and I wonder how strong and serious Brandon is in his faith. because to me, writing books like this it's strange for someone like him. You know, if you believe in just the one Christian God, it's kind of strange to me that he would write such an expansive world like this based on multiple gods, and even gods being human.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we still don't know what Adon Elysium was, or, you know, I don't, you know, if he actually was a god or what. But the fact that mere humans have held these god powers is, I mean, it's heretical on some points. You know, I'm surprised that people from his, like, that he's still allowed in the church, because I know, like, you can get excommunicated real quick for stuff like that.
Really, I didn't know that. I wonder if that is a thing, like if they normally would excommunicate someone. I don't know a ton about the LDS church.
I mean, times are changing. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
2022, and everyone's getting a little bit more relaxed.
Mhm.
But he's been writing these books for a while now, I suppose.
I wonder if it's because he is so high profile that they wouldn't do that. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I have friends that are devout Christians, but that I know are not Mormon, that love reading stories with all these different kinds of gods in them. And one of my really good friends, he's writing a story. I don't know if he's going to have gods in his book, but I think it all depends on how well you can separate the fiction from the reality. Because I think some people are so strict that they say, you know, you can't even say stuff, even if it's in a fantasy, versus,
Right.
you know, as long as you understand the difference between reality and, you know, fiction, then you can read whatever you want. Like my stepmother was one of the no Harry Potter in the house people, and my dad wasn't. So I would bring my Harry Potter books and I would sit on the curb and I would read them.
For sure. Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, I think that the religious representation in this series, I find that it plays a central part in some aspects, but I almost forget it sometimes.
No, absolutely. And even, I mean, even the, you know, the Vorin is only practiced by Alethkar, I believe. Like, a lot of the other nations that are technically just a few miles away, don't bother with it at all.
Yeah, there's so many places on the map that we haven't met yet, we haven't talked about yet, places that I want to explore more too.
I would love to see the Horneater Peaks. I want to meet Rock's family.
Do
Rock,
I
Rock is one of my favorites for sure.
Rock is everybody's favorite uncle. I just want him. I love Rock. I just want to be my
Uncle
uncle.
Rock, I love it.
Uncle Rock. Um, I have a surprise for you then. Have you read either of the novellas, like the like Edge Dancer or Dawn Shard?
I have not.
Okay, I will have to bring my copies to you next time I come to Detroit so you can read them. But
I think Edge Dancer is in the Ars Arcanum.
yes, it is. It is.
But I don't think Dawn Shard is.
Dawn Shard will blow your mind.
Okay.
But the third one he has said is going to be set in the Horneater Peaks, and it is following Rock after he leaves, you know,
Nice.
Kaladin and everyone. When he leaves, I was so sad. I was like, why are you going?
I don't know. This may be a hot take, but I'm not a huge fan of Lyft.
That is not a hot take, sadly. I
No,
love Lyft. There are a lot of people that don't like Lyft.
I guess
I
it's
love her.
like her. It's just, so I find her story somewhat boring. It's just not enchanting, I guess.
I think that we're gonna get more,
Sure, and yeah, I'm sure it'll develop further.
because I think so. I have a theory that our like main people are going to actually end up on Braze
Ooh,
or somewhere. I think that the end of the fifth book, Kaladin is they're gonna, so this is like my big theory, that they're going to reform the Oath Pact with new Radiants who are gonna be, you know, heralds, and that the Oath Pact is gonna be like triggered, and Kaladin's gonna sacrifice himself and he's gonna end up on Braze being tortured.
my heart.
I
My
know,
heart.
but he won't be
I
dead. He
yeah,
won't be.
I could see it. I could see it.
So I have a feeling that like our main characters like Dalinar and Shallan and Kaladin, and I won't say what I think happens to Adolin. I think Adolin's gonna die. But
Oh no.
But I could be wrong. I could be super duper wrong. But anyway, I think that like Renarin and Lift, and why can't I remember his name? Rain are going to be like more main characters in the second half. And so we're going to get more of like Lift and her pancakes.
She loves to eat. I love it.
Yes.
That is my favorite part about her.
It's so cool how cultivate. So she's from cultivation and
Mhm.
honor. And so she consumes things to make her own light. And I find that fascinating.
No, absolutely. Like it was kind of a mind, like, won't say it. You know, like that you know, it's just really interesting again how his world building and magic system comes together. There's so many twists and turns and surprises, but they make sense, so it works.
Oh, my brain likes to skip around. And I was thinking about the parts that hit me and the themes of grief that he talks about in this book. That's like one of the things that I really love because I've been dealing with that in my life for the last couple of years. But
Sure.
Teft,
Oh man, what a special poor boy.
I know. And how he's like, I've been loved, so like even though you're gonna kill me, I'm gonna be happy. And just the thought of grief in Kaladin and that story with Tien, like you were talking about, adds a whole other aspect. And I think that grief and death is another big theme, along with, you know, integrity, which actually, now that I mention it, the stronghold
Lasting
of the honor
integrity. What a
lasting
name.
integrity.
What
Yeah,
a dope name.
which totally works with the theory, the theme that you were talking about of, you know, taking responsibility for your actions is acting with integrity. And that's what Dalinar is all about. That's what Kaladin is all about. Even though it's really, really rough for him.
At all times, it seemed.
Yes. Even though the bondsmiths are not, you know, with the honor spren, they have I don't even know what you would call them. The three big spren.
The
Big boys.
honor cultivation odium?
No, you have the sibling and you have the father and then the night watcher.
Yeah. So let's tangent. I was training in Oklahoma a couple months ago for work, and I was at the hotel. And when I went up to the bar to grab a drink, there was another conference there, and I ended up talking. I met this geologist.
Really?
And somehow we got started talking about Mistborn, and it was really cool to hear a geologist take on Mistborn and burning metals, and then even about the Stormlight Archive, like as far as there's even some like scientific properties of the rocks that, you know, he borrowed, like, and that was just super cool.
Yes. So I did a video on it a while ago about Stormlight and sound waves and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that I can't remember what the word they use for it is, but that was really cool when, you know, they vibrate the pattern. Cymatics, I believe.
Cymatics, yeah. And that's the priest guy who hits on Shallan and then tries to kill her.
Yeah, Cabzal.
Cabzal, I call him Cabzal the asshole because it kind of semi-rhymes.
It works.
And him showing the cymatics. I love the science in this book series. One of the coolest things for me is that even though it seems like it's so magical, the fact that you can distill it down to the science makes my little science heart happy. And
no, absolutely. Like it's like still following natural law of some sort.
Yes. And I think that that's going to be the thing that like really connects all the worlds, because all of the different ways, all the different magic systems in the Cosmere, it's all investiture. And so it's all the same magic. I call it energy, I guess, because that's the best way my brain understands it,
Sure.
being used in different forms. And so what's the thing that connects them all is gotta be this like resonance and the waves and everything. And man, that would have been really cool to talk to a geologist about it. Did he go in depth about the different like types of metals and stuff like that? Or
it's hard to remember the specifics. We got drinking pretty heavily, but
Horn Eater White Man's gonna
exactly.
get you every time.
Exactly. But no, I even as far as like some of the chemical compounds of the different metals. Yeah, I can't really remember the specifics, but it was just really interesting to hear another take about it.
Because there's like some of them are like alloys.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, even the Mistborns combining them, especially like the like Duralumin was probably like one of my favorite metals of just the quick burst of burn the whole thing and make it like a super wave of power. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yes. Is that your favorite metal for them to burn?
I mean, probably only because it's like a utility. Like on its own, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I'm definitely a fan of utility,
Yes. Yes. Well, you are a video gamer, so you
and that's what I play in D&D as well. Got to be support and utility. Yeah, I mean, she did Yasna pretty dirty though, but I mean, made up for it.
she did do Yasmin dirty with trying to, but who's gonna did she think she was really gonna pull one over on Yasna like completely?
I think she did, and yeah, and that was for sure a folly of youth
Yes.
and of
Very
desperation.
desperation for sure. Her whole family though, that's like an example of girl, you gotta like separate yourself from the toxicity, you
No,
know?
like she had some problems, like a terrible family.
Oh God, yes.
Even her brothers, like I mean, I who was it? Was it Nan or the one that
Happens
was
a
like
lot.
into torturing little animals?
I there was Nambalat and there was Hellerin, and wasn't there a third brother? I think
Possibly that I can't remember.
Nambalat is like the creepy one who is still
Pull,
alive or was still alive.
pulling legs off of Kremlings.
Yes. And then that's
Hellerin was the one that Kaladin killed in the Shard Plate, I believe.
yes, which was another like sometimes there could be like an episode of like Maury or something with these
For
characters.
sure, no, for sure, for sure.
Like, and Kaladin killed your brother. What do you have to say about that, Shallan? Like.
But I mean, and then that is like another theme of especially of Kaladin and Moash, as far as how much Kaladin hates the Light Eyes just because of. I mean, it's a justified hate,
Yeah.
but can you generalize?
And then he becomes a Light Eyes. Kaladin does. And then he like when he meets Dalinar and Shallan and like meets these other Light Eyes, and he's like, okay, they're not all evil. But then Moash still does think they're evil, and he gets angry at Kaladin. He's like, how can you possibly accept them? It's the blindness of anger and rage.
Yep, there it is.
He can't accept anything other than his own personal viewpoint because he's so angry and he holds all that emotion. He can't.
Well, and it's such an us versus them situation. Light eyes, dark eyes. It's just, I mean, binary class system, and again, you could draw a lot of conclusions to today.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, 100%. 100%. That's one of the things that I love about fantasy is the ability to explore themes that are happening in our world now in a way that you can't in standard contemporary fiction. You can get at all these other facets and you can look at more layers because you have these fantastical elements to them. And it also allows you to have this just space of separation between you and the character so that you can look at the theme in a way that doesn't make you feel the way that you would if you saw it in a person and you were like putting yourself in the shoes of someone who lived in our world.
No, absolutely, and I think that's why like Kaladin is such a favorite character of mine. That even though he's this fantastical person who has these magical powers, he's still put into situations that potentially you or I could be in, and still act with honor, even without powers. And I mean, even especially the edge. I mean, I really like the edge dancers order as far as remembering those who are lost and helping these people. I mean, what a noble calling.
Yeah, I do love the edge dancers, and they have cool powers too. That's not the important part.
Everything's a slip and slide.
It is, but I find that Kaladin, he has inspired me to be better and to look at the parts of my life that make me feel small and make me feel sad the way that Kaladin feels when he thinks about how he couldn't help Tien. Like his whole character arc and the things the way that he interacts with other characters, especially the way that he interacts with Hoyd, like that has helped frame my viewpoint of my own depression and has helped me kind of climb a little bit out because of the lessons that he learns. Like we're also learning those along with him. And the line, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just say like a novel. I think even Sanderson said it, and this is, I mean, a pretty well established concept that a novel is a living concept as far as once Brandon releases it, like it's no longer his book, it's my book and it's your book, and you get out of it what you're feeling at the time. I mean, again, the different things that I'm picking up on now versus reading these books even a year or two ago, I'm a different person and I'm dealing with different things, and so I look for different things and draw different conclusions.
100%. I love that. Yes. That's just one of the many things. Like there's all of the other stuff we've talked about, the world building and the characters and the concepts of religion and grief and integrity. Like that's all amazing. And then you add this like bow of mental health support and it feels so good. And I hope that it continues that way.
Yeah, and on top of all that, it's still an action novel where I get to read battle scenes. Like,
yes, with
win-win.
these giant magic swords and giant horses that like have bonds with you. Like I just you were talking about the Windrunners and how that might be like a man thing.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I get, yeah.
There is Lynn. Lynn is the first woman to become a Windrunner. And I remember a lot of the guys had a problem with that. They were like, she's a girl. But
was that in Rhythm of War?
Yeah, it was in Rhythm of War. It like
Okay.
happened in between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, because remember, Kaladin and Lynn were dating, and
Right.
Kaladin a relationship off screen.
Not
I will
cool.
never forgive him for that.
Right.
Just saying.
You got to write that out.
I know.
Hopefully we'll get some flashbacks in the future. Hopefully.
I hope so. The boy needs just a break. And he doesn't need a woman, but I would love to see him feel cared for by somebody.
Absolutely. He's strong, independent, but yeah.
He don't need no woman.
But it would be nice.
It would be. But I have loved talking Cosmere with you. I wish that we had more time.
No, it's been great.
Maybe we'll have to do it again sometime. After The Lost Metal comes out, we can have a recap and talk about that.
I'm for sure excited for that. I like Wax and Wayne.
I do too. I am not, I don't know if I like them more than the original, but I do hold a special spot for them.
No, I definitely like the original more, quite a bit more. But I guess it's Wax that he's all right, but I mean Wayne is perfect.
Yes. What's next on your docket for reading? Are you going to read just straight through to Oathbringer, or? Yeah,
I'll probably read to Rhythm of War. And then after that, I'll probably switch out of the Cosmere. I'm reading. I do like sci-fi a lot too. I'm going over to Jack McDivitt. If you haven't read any of his stuff, super interesting sci-fi stuff.
I have not read any of his stuff. If you have recommendations,
absolutely.
I'm always up for them. We'll switch. I'll give you fantasy recs, and you can give me the sci-fi recs.
Perfect.
I'm sure you get some from your brother too.
Oh yeah. And the last book of Ender's Game, well, it's already out, but it's coming out in paperback this month. So I have the last one. I gotta finish that series.
He's still writing those?
It's done now.
Oh my gosh.
And actually, it's the same thing. He has other authors writing in his universe as well, which I don't really have a ton of interest in, but I just want to figure out the end of Ender.
Oh my goodness. I remember reading Ender's Game in high school and talking to you about it and talking to you about Speaker for the Dead. Wow, that's flash.
Have you not finished that series?
No, I haven't.
It's really good.
Okay, maybe I'll have to check it out. I don't know if there's anything that I can think of that's like more opposite in the fantasy sci-fi genre of Stormlight than like something like Ender's Game. So
yeah, I mean it is almost like perfectly opposite in a great way.
Yes, so it makes for the perfect palate cleanser. But thank you so much for coming on. I had so much fun, and I hope you in the audience have loved getting to know my friend Joe. He has a lot of good ideas, and obviously you were very well spoken. I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you, thank you. No, it's been great. Like I said, I don't have a ton of people to talk like to just nerd out about this stuff. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
Oh, well, you're always welcome to talk about it with me. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please like, subscribe, and let us know down below if you have any comments on the stuff that we talked about. Bye, guys.
See ya.